Welcome to Lesson 2. Yesterday we discussed selecting evidence-based interventions. Today we go deeper, understanding the theoretical mechanisms that make interventions work. Behavioral theory explains why people do what they do and what needs to change for them to do something different. When you understand theory, you can design interventions that target the right mechanisms. You can explain why your approach should work, and you can troubleshoot when something isn't working. Theory turns intervention design from intuition into science. By the end of this lesson, you'll accomplish three objectives. First, map intervention components to behavioral theory constructs. This means being able to say this activity targets self-efficacy or this component addresses perceived barriers. Second, explain the theoretical mechanisms of behavior change. Why does your intervention work? What psychological or social processes does it engage? And third, strengthen interventions by addressing multiple theoretical constructs. Most behavior is influenced by multiple factors. Interventions that address multiple constructs tend to be more effective. Let me make the case for why theory matters in intervention design. Theory explains mechanisms. When you can articulate why an intervention should work, you're more confident in the design. It's not just hoping. It's based on understood principles of human behavior. Theory guides design. If theory tells you that self-efficacy is crucial for this behavior, you know to include efficacy-building components. Theory tells you what your intervention needs. Theory enables troubleshooting. If your intervention isn't producing expected results, theory helps diagnose why. Is knowledge changing but self-efficacy isn't? Are individual factors changing but environmental barriers remain? And theory builds evidence. When theory-based interventions succeed, we learn something generalizable. Not just this program worked in this place, but interventions targeting these constructs can change this behavior. Several behavioral theories are commonly used in public health. Let me briefly introduce the major ones. The health belief model focuses on perceptions, perceived susceptibility to a health threat, perceived severity of that threat, perceived benefits of action, and perceived barriers to action. Social cognitive theory emphasizes learning and confidence. Self-efficacy, your confidence you can perform the behavior, outcome expectations, what you believe will happen if you act, and observational learning, learning by watching others. Theory of planned behavior highlights intentions, attitudes toward the behavior, subjective norms, what important others think, and perceived behavioral control, how much control you feel you have. The trans-theoretical model describes stages people move through, from not thinking about change to maintaining change, and processes that move them through stages. Each theory offers different entry points for intervention. Let's go deeper into the health belief model. The core idea is that people act when they feel threatened and believe action will help. Perceived susceptibility asks, am I at risk for this health problem? If people don't feel personally at risk, they're unlikely to act. Risk communication can increase susceptibility perceptions. Perceived severity asks, how serious is this if I get it? Fear appeals work here, but be careful. Too much fear without efficacy can be counterproductive. Perceived benefits asks, will taking action help me? People need to believe the recommended action actually works. Evidence and testimonials can build this. Perceived barriers asks, what makes action difficult? Cost, time, inconvenience, embarrassment. Intervention should reduce barriers, not just increase motivation. The model suggests that threat plus belief in action minus barriers predicts behavior. Social cognitive theory offers different insights. The core idea is that behavior is learned through observation and personal experience. We watch others and learn from what happens to them. Self-efficacy is the star construct, your confidence that you can successfully perform a specific behavior in specific circumstances. Self-efficacy is often the most powerful predictor of behavior change. It's not whether you actually can do something, it's whether you believe you can. How do you build self-efficacy? Mastery experiences, successfully performing the behavior, starting with easier versions and building up. Modeling, watching similar others succeed. Verbal encouragement, someone you trust telling you that you can do it. Managing emotional states, reducing anxiety that undermines confidence. Intervention should explicitly target self-efficacy through these mechanisms. The theory of planned behavior focuses on intentions as the immediate predictor of behavior. The core idea is that behavior follows from intentions, and intentions are shaped by three factors. Attitudes are your evaluation of the behavior. Is this good or bad, beneficial or harmful, pleasant or unpleasant? Attitudes come from beliefs about outcomes. Subjective norms are your perception of social pressure. Do people important to me think I should do this? Norms come from what others do and what others expect. Perceived behavioral control is your sense of ability and opportunity. Can I actually do this? Do I have the skills and resources? Are there factors outside my control? Interventions can target any of these. Changing attitudes through information, changing norms through social influence, or increasing control through skills and environmental change. Here's the practical application. For each component of your intervention, identify the theoretical construct it targets. If you include a testimonial video of someone who successfully changed their behavior, that targets self-efficacy through modeling. If you present statistics on disease risk, that targets perceived susceptibility. If you have participants practice a skill, that targets self-efficacy through mastery experience. If you bring in family members to discuss support, that targets subjective norms. Create a theory map, a visual or table linking each intervention activity to the theoretical construct it addresses. This exercise often reveals gaps. Maybe you're heavy on information targeting attitudes but have nothing targeting self-efficacy. Those gaps are opportunities to strengthen the intervention. Use theory mapping to strengthen your intervention. Identify which constructs you're currently not addressing. If perceived barriers matter but you have no barrier reduction component, that's a gap. Add components that target gaps. Every theoretical construct doesn't need a dedicated activity, but important ones shouldn't be ignored. Consider which constructs matter most for this specific behavior. For some behaviors, self-efficacy is paramount. For others, norms dominate. Focus your efforts where they'll have the most impact. But remember, more isn't always better. An intervention that tries to address every construct may become too long, too complex, too diluted. Focus on the key mechanisms for your behavior and population. Theory helps you prioritize. A caution: the theories we've discussed focus primarily on individual psychological factors. They're powerful but incomplete. Ecological models remind us that behavior occurs within environments, the interpersonal level, family, peers, providers, the organizational level, workplaces, schools, clinics, the community level, neighborhoods, local resources, the policy level, laws, regulations, systems. Social network approaches show how relationships influence behavior. Who you're connected to affects what you do. Information, norms, and support flow through networks, and policy and systems shape the context for individual choices. An individual-focused intervention in a hostile environment will struggle. The best interventions combine individual-level theory with attention to environmental and systemic factors. Let's summarize our key takeaways. Theory explains why interventions work, guides design decisions, and enables troubleshooting when things don't go as planned. Key theories include the health belief model with its focus on threat and benefit perceptions, social cognitive theory with its emphasis on self-efficacy and learning, and theory of planned behavior with its attention to intentions, attitudes, norms, and control. Self-efficacy is often the most powerful predictor of behavior change. Interventions that build confidence tend to succeed. Map each component of your intervention to theoretical constructs. This reveals what mechanisms you're engaging and where gaps exist. Identify gaps and strengthen your intervention by addressing key mechanisms for your specific behavior and population. In our next lesson, we'll learn rapid prototyping, creating quick, testable versions of intervention components. Thank you.